Good evening, you're watching Super 6 here on India Today. I'm Akshita Nandagopal. Over the next 60 minutes, rounding up the day's top stories. Let's begin by giving you a glimpse of what you can expect over the next 1 hour. Our top focus here on Super 6 is the Pakistani spy ring that's been busted. And central at the heart of it is a young 33-year-old YouTuber, an influencer on Instagram called Jyoti Malhotra. What exactly was her role in helping Pakistani intelligence networks? Why was she chosen? She's visited Pakistan several times. We'll get you details of how exactly Pakistan reached out to her and why are they now trying to get in, woo YouTubers, influencers in India. We'll be talking about that as our top focus here on Super 6. Story number 2. We'll be shifting away from what's been happening between India and Pakistan and talking about what's happening in Bengaluru. As we speak, Bengaluru is right now being lashed by rainfall, but this is the situation currently in the city, underwater after heavy spell of rainfall last night. Granted, unprecedented rainfall, but add to it is the apathy of authorities. Add to it is the lack of preparedness that leads to flooding like this in the city again and again. That's coming up at 6:30 this evening. Story number 3 that we'll be focusing on is also on the fire that broke out in a building in Hyderabad, leading to 17 casualties. Was there some sort of a lapse in the kind of steps that were taken to ensure fire officials reach there as soon as possible? Well, the opposition certainly claims so in Telangana. We'll be getting you a sense of what exactly happened, what led to this blaze. Story number 4 that we'll be running you through is a worrying ISIS plot, thankfully busted courtesy the Telangana and Andhra police. 2 individuals have been taken into custody and details are emerging of how they wanted to actually bomb the city of Hyderabad. Worrying story which we'll tell you about in just a bit here on Super 6. But story number 5 that we're going to be telling you about is an international story of former US President Joe Biden. Confirmed now that he has stage 4 of cancer. And there are wishes pouring in, of course, for the former president. But one pertinent question: how is it that they detected stage 4 of cancer only at this stage? Or was it something that they hid from the public for the last many months? But let's get started with our top focus. As promised, it's on Jyoti Malhotra. There are traitors with him. Traitors who've been actively aiding Pakistan. And these are people you'd least suspect hanging around in our neighborhoods, working with us, or maybe even an Instagrammer or YouTuber that you follow. Jyoti Malhotra, a young YouTuber, runs a channel called Travel with Joe. She has over 3.2 lakh subscribers on YouTube, over 13 lakh followers on Instagram. Jyoti Malhotra is 33 years old. She's been actively aiding Pakistan, providing them reportedly crucial intel by visiting strategic locations and then endlessly praising Pakistan in videos and reels. And we'll give you a glimpse of that in just a bit as well here on Super 6. Her social media channels have been blocked now, but beyond that, she now faces a very serious espionage charge. She's been arrested. Now, Jyoti Malhotra visited Pakistan several times, which isn't a crime in itself, but an intent of visiting Pakistan. The timing of it is what's now led to her arrest. Jyoti's been booked under the Official Secrets Act. Cops have confirmed that Pakistani intelligence operatives were developing this Haryana YouTuber into an asset. Why? How? We'll be talking about all of that. And unfortunately, Jyoti Malhotra isn't alone. There are several others also who are reportedly being reached out to by Pakistan. Some of them arrested. The investigation continues. So how did Jyoti Malhotra actually get into something like this? Who reached out to her? A couple of names have emerged here, and I'll run you through those. Now, central to this is a man named Danish. If you watched the video that we showed you previously, she's also seen meeting him at the Pakistan High Commission. Remember, this man, Danish, whose actual name is Ehsan-ur-Rahim, he's actually been expelled from India for espionage. Expelled just a few days ago. And at that point, there were no details of exactly why. But now, with him being expelled, we know what he was doing. He was running this entire espionage racket. So it was essentially between him and this other man called Harkirat Singh, who organized pilgrimage groups and essentially helped Jyoti get a Pakistan visa, not once, but 3 times over. So Harkirat Singh also involved in this. So essentially used Baisakhi as an excuse to ensure that she'd get the visa repeatedly. But it's through Harkirat that Jyoti and Danish met. Reportedly, they had a relationship as well. Now, Jyoti, of course, is the YouTuber that we're talking about. The allegation against her is that she also gave sensitive information to Pakistan, visited Pakistan 3 times. The timing of it is something we'll talk about as well. Now, besides this, there's one more person who's yet to be identified. This is someone who works in the Pakistan High Commission. He's a staffer. No details yet on exactly who he is, but that's his picture right there. His picture has emerged from 2 instances. One, that he was seen with Jyoti at that iftar event in the Pakistan High Commission. Again, if you notice closely in the video we played earlier, he's seen in that video asking for a picture with Jyoti. He's the same man who, after the Pahalgam terror attack, actually went viral because he was seen taking a cake into the Pakistan High Commission. Was he involved in this entire espionage racket? We don't know. But his face has turned up twice so far. His images have gone viral since. Is it mere coincidence that he was involved in 2 incidents really at the Pakistan High Commission? Can't really say at this point because the authorities are looking into it. But it isn't just Jyoti. There are several others also who've been involved, all again linked to one man, to Danish. And there are 5 accused that we're listing out for you. Right on top is, of course, Jyoti Malhotra, who's already been arrested because she aided Danish in financial transactions, reportedly also made micropayments for covert ops. Then you have the likes of Guzala, you have Arman and several others. So let's talk about Arman. He was cultivated by Danish to provide logistical support and trained to gather information. All of them are linked to Danish. Accused number 4, Devinder Singh Dhillon. Now he shared Patiala cantonment videos with Pakistan. Why is that worrying? Because this all leads to questions about whether these were possible targets as well. Priyanka Senapati is another YouTuber, a friend of Jyoti's, who also visited Pakistan, who's been interrogated on whether she's also involved in this entire spy racket. But why exactly would Pakistan target a YouTuber? What information could they possibly get? Because obviously she's not privy to any military or sensitive information. But here's how Jyoti allegedly aided Pakistan, and this is based on what sources and agencies have told us who've been actively involved in her questioning. She recce'd and shot videos at vital sites for Pakistan, including in Kashmir, had visited Pahalgam, and we'll tell you about that. Besides that, she's been accused of spying, of aiding ISI operations. Why do we say this? Well, because it's been confirmed that she was also in touch with the Pakistan intelligence network as well. So it wasn't just surface contacts, but reportedly used encrypted chats to talk to people in Pakistan. She's been accused of sharing intel under the guise of travel vlogging, would visit every part of the country and then would visit Pakistan. Not a coincidence, this is what agencies tell us. Besides that, she also posted content praising Pakistan repeatedly on social platforms, even after the Pahalgam terror attack. So there was a clear motive behind that. The motive was that she was getting paid by Pakistan. So allegedly involved in Pakistan's narrative warfare strategy. Pakistan has reportedly been reaching out to a lot of these influencers, offering them free trips to Pakistan and much, much more. Essentially, so they put out a good word or two for the country and then create an atmosphere in India where it's essentially more sympathizers for Pakistan. But a lot that's come in really on the interrogation of Jyoti Malhotra and several others. What exactly has been her role? Is there any role in the Pahalgam terror attack? What places did she visit just before that? What were the other locations she recce'd? Let's get you all of those details in our next report.
Big revelation on Pakistan's spy ring involving a popular influencer. Jyoti Malhotra's link with Pakistan is tumbling out. Jyoti made 3 yearly trips to Pakistan since 2023, apart from visiting Kashmir frequently. Cops suspect she may have shot specific Kashmir locations at behest of Pakistan.
This is the house that she used to live in. the fridge magnets on the room and the fridge is visible of her interest to travel. Jyoti is not the one person who is arrested. At least 6 of them have been picked up in Haryana across different districts that include Nuh, Kaithal, Panipat, etc. and also Punjab's Malerkotla. This is an ongoing investigation suggesting that a group of influencers were in close touch with one person from the Pakistan embassy in Delhi.
One Haryana Sikh Gurudwara management body, employee Harkirat Singh, is emerging as key link who introduced Jyoti to her Pakistani handlers. Harkirat, who was arrested, has revealed that Jyoti was trapped by Pakistan embassy staffer Danish while seeking Pakistani visa in 2023. Jyoti had subsequently developed intimate relationship with a Pakistani handler and had even gone on a week-long trip to Bali. Jyoti's curious links to a Pakistan embassy staffer who carried a cake soon after the Pahalgam attack is also out. The same Pakistani embassy employee was with Jyoti when she attended an iftar party at the embassy. Tasked with spreading positive narrative on Pakistan, Jyoti gave a clean chit to Pakistan after the Pahalgam attack. Jyoti's Pakistani trips are now under scanner as agencies suspect that Pakistan was grooming her as a spying asset. Jyoti also kept her family in the dark about her trips to Pakistan.
मैं तो क्या क्या करती मैं तो दिल्ली जा रही हूँ पापा 2 दिन में मैं आ जाऊंगी या 4 दिन में आ जाऊंगी.
लेकिन आप लोगों को कभी पता था कि वो पाकिस्तान घूम के आई है या फिर पाकिस्तानी दोस्त भी है? हम ये नहीं कह रहे कि ये गलत है, लेकिन हम बस आपसे पूछ रहे हैं कि क्या ऐसी कोई भी चीजें आपको पहले से पता थी?
मेरे को तो नहीं पता था जी.
The espionage ring revelations exposing a fresh Pakistani ploy to enlist influencers to snoop inside India.
Assalamu alaikum.
Vishya Chatterjee, Bureau Report, India Today.
And more details that are emerging from agencies on Jyoti Malhotra, the YouTuber, and her role really in this Pakistan espionage racket. Now, using encrypted communication channels on WhatsApp, Telegram and Snapchat, Jyoti remained in active contact with Pakistani operatives. And here's what she was told to do. Here's her assignment that she was given by Pakistan to project a positive image of Pakistan, to share sensitive information related to Indian geography. She'd travel, do vlogs, share that footage, maintaining communication with the Pakistani High Commission handlers during their stays in India. Also, she travelled with a Pakistani operative to some of the locations, which suggest that there was some sort of personal link also between her and one of these operatives, details of which our agencies haven't put out just yet. But I want to bring in Shreya Chatterjee for more details on this. Shreya, more details really tumbling out on the motive behind bringing someone like Jyoti Malhotra into an espionage ring. Many would question, saying, look, what kind of information could she possibly give Pakistan? She has no military sensitive information, no strategic information. So what is it that she really brought to the table that Pakistan actually wanted her to be their spy?
Well, you know, that's exactly one of the questions I had in mind when I entered Hisar today. But after talking with the police, the intel agencies who are actually investigating the matter, we really need to understand that we are in a modern era of cyber warfare, something that we've seen when the Operation Sindoor was going on as well. Now, one person, remember, is being planted in your own soil to push a positive agenda of an enemy country in order to somewhere down the line give a narrative which doesn't settle in. So this is something which is a new form of warfare that needs to be investigated. And you know, the IB report that we accessed, Akshata, that clearly suggests that this was not just Pakistan. She went to China, she went to Nepal, she went to Dubai. It's really, interesting choice of places as a travel vlogger that she's actually gone to. Something that will also be investigated. We're not really insinuating, but the timeline is exactly something that the police is right now looking into. In November, she goes last year to Kashmir, and then subsequently she visits Pakistan again in the month of March this year. Remember what the intel report suggested before the Pahalgam attack, that there could be a possible thing revolving tourist areas. Whether this woman was given any particular directive of going to particular tourist areas by her handlers or not, All these things are being investigated, a long haul process, because it actually involves a lot of digital data that needs to be looked at, and then that has to be corroborated. But we need to understand this is a modern warfare that is being used. A person who was announced as a person of non-grata to be moved from the country. Why did Jyoti have to stay in contact with that person even after that directive? Big question that she will continue to face from the local police of Haryana, NIA, military intelligence, and also other intelligence central agencies in our country.
Sources are telling us that Jyoti hasn't been cooperating with the investigation. Shreya, just stay with me. Shreya raised a very important pattern here about whether Jyoti's travels is something that Pakistan was constantly tracking, whether it helped them, whether these were recce visits that she conducted across different parts of the country for Pakistan. Important to highlight here that Jyoti visited Pahalgam in January. Right after that, months later, the terror attack took place. At this point, officials have ruled out her direct link to Pahalgam. But it's something we must highlight here, because besides that, she also visited Gulmarg. This was in December last year, Uri as well. All of this took place in December and January, when she, of course, toured through Kashmir, put out one video after another, allegedly also shared sensitive information with Pakistan. There's another visit that officials are looking into, when in September 2024, she visited the Jagannath temple in Puri. And so there's a big focus on whether there was an attempt to target this particular temple too, because officials believe, and sources tell us, that Jyoti visited this temple to hand over information of what this area looked like. And because she's a vlogger, she will of course be able to walk in just like anyone else. And that proves to be important really for Pakistan to go ahead and plot these attacks as they do. But it wasn't just, of course, to different parts of the country. Jyoti repeatedly visited Pakistan, 3 times in fact. Her first visit was in April 2023 when she got her visa for Baisakhi. We had broken down for you a few moments ago how exactly she was getting her visas, using a man called Harkirat Singh, who was part of a Gurudwara committee, who would arrange these visas because he'd arranged religious group visits. So in that sense, he managed to get her a visa in April 2023 to visit Pakistan during Baisakhi. Same time next year, April 2024, she again visited Pakistan, and this time around stayed there for over a month on a visa. The third visit was just a few months ago, 1 month before Pahalgam, March 2025, right after her Kashmir trip. You had Jyoti Malhotra once again visiting Pakistan. And we showed you a glimpse of the kind of videos that she was putting out, heaping praise essentially on Pakistan repeatedly, which, as Shreya also told you, is how essentially Pakistan is trying to push forward this narrative warfare. I also have Kamaljeet Sandhu with us, joining us with more details on this. Kamaljeet, any details really that have emerged on how our authorities actually managed to bust this kind of an espionage ring, and if they suspect that there are more who are involved?
Well, almost a dozen have been arrested both in Punjab and Haryana, and in specific Jyoti Malhotra being one of them who have been arrested by Haryana police. But what we've been told is that these are small modules which are dealing to each other. But definitely it's the Pakistan High Commission at this point of time which seems to be under scanner, because remember Ehsan ur Rahman alias Danish, he's the one who'd actually been needling and pinpointing and getting all those people to work and coerce them to work for Pakistan-based ISI agency. Remember, as far as Ghazala is concerned, a 32-year-old widow from Malerkotla who was convinced that he would marry her, and this is where he lured her in to make payments. Jyoti Malhotra, a travel blogger of sorts, and then she was not only given that free trip to Pakistan, but multiple trips, given access to some of the key persons. Also been told that her trip to Bali also actually had one of the Pakistani conduits who was part of it. So all this is being done, one, to create an image, and second, to also, after Pahalgam terror attack, put a message across that Pakistan's role was not there. So in a sense, trying to create a sort of certain message to the viewers in a certain sense and play psychologically. So this is where also what we know is there are WhatsApp details as far as chats are concerned, Telegram chats are concerned. All this is under scanner because some of them are deleted. For instance, Harkirat, who's also part of the Haryana SGPC, who's being questioned as to how he introduced Jyoti to the Pakistan High Commission, who have actually sworn innocence and said that, you know, he has been taking a lot of Sikh jathas to Pakistan, and she was just one of them. And after that, she made her own contacts. So all this is now part of that. But remember, any sort of help being given to Pakistan, whether it's about mobile numbers, whether it's providing SIMs, whether it is providing any sort of photograph, GPS locations, all this is part of Pakistan High Commission members. And remember, this is part of international violation. You cannot be seeking, especially all these persons, to give you that kind of a help and develop sources. So Pakistan High Commission is definitely under scanner, and that is why Danish has been given a persona non grata and sent back packing to Pakistan. But meanwhile, what he has left behind is a web of espionage,
allegedly with all of these people. Kamalji, thanks very much for those details. A quick update from Shreya also on Jyoti Malhotra. Shreya, you know, we spoke about the motive of why someone would betray their country in this manner. The other question that comes up then, Shreya, is what was she getting in return? Was it just these free trips, or was there more? Were they doled some sort of perks that Pakistan was providing her?
Well, there was no, there's no denial that this was a perk. Perks is what she was actually looking at, because clearly she did not come from a very well-to-do background. She comes from a disturbed family. Her parents are divorced. She's raised by a single parent. So lots going on that front. She lost her job during the COVID time, and then subsequently, this is the intervening time. Then in 2023, she decided to open a travel vlog, and things transpired haywire. So definitely, she saw a lot of perks that was given to her, be it trips to Bali, be it international trips, or for the fact that she was getting easy access to even a Pakistan visa. For that matter, there needs to be looked at whether these visas to China, Pakistan, Nepal, Bangladesh also had any kind of altercations or not. That's something that the agencies will look into. But clearly, this was perks per travel basis that she was enjoying, but we cannot really say that she was absolutely innocent. The reason I'm saying that, Akshita, even after understanding the gravity of the problem, when she's now being questioned, I've particularly asked those who are interrogating her, they say she shows no sign of remorse, and what she still holds to the ground is that what she did is an exercise of freedom of speech. That was exactly her word, and that by now is clearly shocking, despite knowing the gravity, if someone doesn't understand what she's ended up doing.
You know, freedom of speech, sure. If you were visiting Pakistan with a visa, a valid visa, absolutely have the right to do that. If you have friends in Pakistan, absolutely have the right to do that. If you truly believe Pakistan is a great country, you still have the right to do that. But to do it with an ulterior motive, to do it to cater to Pakistan, and therefore essentially you're going ahead and putting India in peril. Doing it with that intention, 100% not okay, which is why she's been arrested right now. Thanks very much, Shreya, for joining us with all of those details. But it's not just Jyoti Malhotra. There have been multiple such Pakistan spy rings that are being busted across the country. After the arrest of Jyoti Malhotra, you've got agencies cracking down on this massive espionage racket. A suspected Pakistani spy has also confessed that he was working for Pakistan. The confession video that we have accessed here on India Today shows the Pakistan spy saying that he was told by Pakistani embassy officials to conduct a recce of Air Force bases in Haryana. The Pakistan embassy trapped the Haryana resident, he says, because he said that he would be paid. And so he went also for a Pakistan visa, and that's when they had told him, you conduct these recces, we'll pay you handsomely. Then you had an Uttar Pradesh resident, Shehzad, who was involved in cross-border smuggling, who's also been caught for espionage now.
तीसरी बार वीज़ा ले लिया, मैं वहाँ से आ गया, वीज़ा ले गए, फिर मैं पाकिस्तान चला गया। पाकिस्तान जाने के बाद तीसरी बार फिर मैं वहाँ से जब आया ना, आने के बाद फिर उसके जब मेरे पास बाद में कॉल आई, फिर उसने कहा कि अब तो है जो सिम से काम नहीं चलेगा, अब तो वीज़ा नहीं लगेगा तेरा। जब मैं वीज़ा ले गया तो अब तो कुछ हमारे लिए कुछ करना पड़ेगा, और उसके लिए हम तुझे लाखों रुपया देंगे, जहाँ भेजेंगे वहाँ जा सकता है। अब मैंने वहाँ तो उनके सामने हाँ भर ली, फिर ठीक है जैसे कहा मैं वहाँ चला जाऊँगा। उसने कहा कि सिरसा जाना है, और एयरफोर्स है जो उसके बारे में उसकी फ़ोटो वीडियो कुछ हमें देनी पड़ेगी।
Bengaluru woke up this Monday morning, to yet another waterlogged day, knee-deep in rainwater, deeper in questions also about civic preparedness. Yes, there was unprecedented rainfall over the last 24 hours in Bengaluru. But add to that is the fact that the government was simply unprepared. The government, interestingly, marks 2 years in power, so they were busy with all of their events and functions, while residents had to wade through this.
It's the same story every single year. Bengaluru underwater after a night of non-stop rainfall. Low-lying areas of the city and the usual victims. Homes built on lake beds went underwater.
This morning around 3 o'clock it started to pour, and that is the reason this entire road has been flooded. And if you notice Sai layout, we have reported time and again, probably 100 times we have reported from that particular spot. It gets floods every time, but it has never crossed that particular layout and reached the main road. Vehicles, people, everybody is stranded. Municipal corporation, the government, whether it is a Congress government or a BJP government, nobody have learnt lessons from their past mistakes.
The buses have been inundated. The entrance of the metro station is completely submerged. Hennur, Silkboat Junction, Kormangla, Old Airport Road, Intermediate Ring Road, several such paths have been inundated since last night because of the heavy rainfall. Met Department data suggested that around 100 millimeters of rainfall Bangalore has seen over the last 6 to 7 hours, and hence the city has come to a standstill completely.
It was a tough start to the week for Bengalurians as many of their homes were full of knee-deep water.
The insensitive rain last night has flooded many houses, and we have already shown the house of Matthew, and there is one more house here at SKR layout which was flooded, and you can see the residents are trying their level best by using buckets to clear the logged water inside their house. Ma'am, when was the water started flooding in your house? At what time?
Not sure at what time. Early morning at around 7:30 or 8, we saw it has flooded all over.
As the Karnataka government celebrates 2 years in power, questions are being raised about the administration's preparedness with key ministers, including Bengaluru's in charge, D.K. Shivakumar, reportedly occupied with meetings and anniversary events rather than addressing the crisis on the ground. So much so that the government even blamed Bengalurians.
ಫ್ಲಡ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಆಗಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಅವರು ಅದನ್ನು ಹೇಳಲೇಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದನ್ನು ಸರಿಪಡಿಸಿ ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕ್ರಮನೂ ಕೂಡ BBMP ಅವರು ತಗೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮೊನ್ನೆಯಿಂದನೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾನು ಗಮನಿಸಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ರೈನ್ ಬಂದಾಗ ಯೂಶ್ವಲಿ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಈ ಎಲೆಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಬಿದ್ದಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಪೇಪರ್ಸ್ ಹಾಕಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಜನ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬೀದಿನಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಈ ಬಾಕ್ಲ್ಗಳು, ಎಲೆಗಳು ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೇರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕ್ಲಾಗಿಂಗ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದನ್ನು ಮೊದಲೇ ಕ್ರಮ ತಗೋಬೇಕು.
The people are struggling, and these are not normal rainwater flooding. These are sewage water which has been flooded, which is making even more difficult for the people to reside as well as to clear the water from their house. This is Rajesh Sagaraj reporting for India Today, Bengaluru.
And moving on, let's also talk about what's been happening in Hyderabad, where a bomb plot was thwarted by a joint intelligence operation conducted by the Telangana police and the Andhra police. Two individuals, Siraj-ur-Rahman from Vijayanagar and Syed Sameer from Hyderabad, have been arrested for planning a series of blasts in Hyderabad, which is extremely worrying. The investigation began after the police, acting on a tip-off, raided a house. They arrested Siraj, who was allegedly preparing explosive materials in that residence. The police have seized aluminium powder, sulfur powder, both used in the making of these explosives. Based on Siraj's confession, a team then tracked down Sameer in Hyderabad. He'd reportedly been in contact with Siraj through social media, was active in certain online groups as well. The duo had even planned a dummy blast as part of their preparations. It was also found that Siraj's father was actually, in fact, part of the police, so was his brother. Authorities revealed the accused were receiving instructions from a Saudi Arabia-based ISIS handler, and Instagram was the primary mode of communication. Both the accused are currently in custody. And the NIA has also been roped into the investigation. The bank accounts of Siraja and Samir, the two accused, is being checked. Sources say that in this Instagram group where the two accused were present, where they discussed these ISIS plans to bomb the city of Hyderabad, 6 people were part of this chat, and they were youngsters from Karnataka as well as from Maharashtra, which is extremely concerning because now authorities will have to ensure that they nab the others as well who are part of this planning. Apurva Jayachandran is joining us with more details on this very concerning news that's come in, Apurva. And if it wasn't for really the alert police in Telangana and Andhra, this would have been essentially a terror attack in the city of Hyderabad.
Well, definitely, Akshita, because this has definitely not only raised several eyebrows, but also at, what has been happening, especially after Operation Sindoor. We've seen there has been a high alert in and across several states, by the union government that keep a check on, radicalized elements and whatnot. And in these kind of searches that had taken place is what was one of the searches that took place at Siraj from Vijayanagaram and Samir from Hyderabad, Secunderabad's houses as well. What we are getting to learn from sources is that Siraj and Samir were part of a 6-member group that including people not only from Hyderabad and Andhra Pradesh but also in and across other states as well, and that all of them had been using Instagram as a means of communication. We are also getting to learn is that Siraj had been often traveling to Hyderabad along with the others who were mentioned in that said Instagram group, where they had all met quite often in Hyderabad and had discussed as well. In fact, Siraj had also gone ahead and attended Group 1, Group 2 examinations there in Hyderabad. And one of the excuses that had been used to also meet with Samir as well. We're getting to learn from higher placed officials that they had been in touch with some sort of a handler there from Saudi Arabia, from where they had also learned to make explosive devices, IED devices in particular, and that Siraj had also attempted to make trial and test runs at one specific location here in Andhra Pradesh.
So that's something that right now the investigation will continue over on the locations that they had planned to target, but also about the others who are a part of this Instagram group. Thanks very much, Apurva, for joining us with those details. Let's also get you all the updates that have come in 24 hours after that horrific fire that was reported in a building in Hyderabad, very close to the Charminar on Sunday. 17 members of a family died, including 8 children. The incident has raised, for obvious reasons, serious concerns about the city's emergency preparedness, particularly because the opposition, BRS's KT Ramarao, slammed the poor response, alleging that ambulances lacked oxygen and masks and fire engines arrived without water, and so the fire blazed on. He claimed these failures may have cost lives and has also demanded compensation for the family that's been affected. Remember, the 70 people who've died, they belong to one family. Now, the Telangana government has ordered an inquiry by 5 departments. At this point, the suspicion is that there was a short circuit. But there's a question here about whether the building followed fire safety norms. These are old buildings in some of the oldest parts of Hyderabad where this fire broke out.
This happened because of the criminal negligence of the state government and its departments. And I'm not just saying this because I'm in the opposition, but, when an accident happens, कैसे आप स्विफ्टली रिस्पॉन्ड करते हो, कैसे आप इमीडिएटली रिस्पॉन्ड करके लोगों की जान बचाने की कोशिश करते हो, ये सबसे अहम बात है. कोई रिव्यू नहीं, कोई म्युनिसिपल मिनिस्टर नहीं, कोई होम मिनिस्टर नहीं. इनकी लापरवाही की वजह से आज कम से कम एक दो लोगों को भी अगर जान बच जाती 17 में से, तो कम से कम उस फैमिली को थोड़ा राहत मिलता. और आके बस 5 लाख ऐलान कर दिए एक स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का, एक प्रोब ऑर्डर कर दिया, चले गए. ये कहाँ की रीत है?
Let's get you an update on the Parliamentary Standing Committee meeting that's taking place, where you have the Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri briefing the committee on Operation Sindoor. Sources telling us that the Foreign Secretary was asked about US overreach, about a possible threat of going nuclear by Pakistan, and whether Indian planes were downed. Now, an opposition member also asked if it's true that US had mediated, because Trump had claimed 7 times that he mediated in the ceasefire. And so the question was asked clearly of the government as to why they allowed Trump to claim credit, and about why US repeatedly mentioned Kashmir, whether there was a need for the government to have hit back on this. Well, sources tell us that the government very clearly in that meeting has said that the ceasefire was at a bilateral level between India and Pakistan. US had no role. Importantly, on the issue that I mentioned on whether there was a nuclear threat by Pakistan, Vikram Misri has communicated, in fact, to the Parliamentary Standing Committee that there was no nuclear signaling by Pakistan. All right, let's move on and get you the international story that we talked about here on Super 6. Former US President Joe Biden's medical diagnosis that's led to, of course, an outpouring of concern and support from world leaders. He's been diagnosed with stage 4 of prostate cancer.
Former US President Joe Biden has long carried the weight of cancer as a deeply personal issue after his son Beau died of brain cancer in 2015. Biden spearheaded the Cancer Moonshot initiative in an effort to cut cancer death rates. But now, at 82, Biden himself is battling an aggressive form of prostate cancer that has spread to his bones. His office confirmed the diagnosis on Sunday, noting that while the cancer is aggressive, it appears to be hormone sensitive, offering a path for effective management.
The cancer has spread to the bones. That makes it stage 4. That means that the cancer is not curable. There's definitely treatment available that can control the cancer. 2 or 3 years is very realistic, and some lucky patients get control for 4, 5, 6, and even longer.
Biden was diagnosed on Friday after experiencing urinary symptoms. As he and his family evaluate treatment options, doctors said Biden is likely to undergo androgen deprivation therapy.
In a lot of patients that get diagnosed with metastatic prostate cancer, the treatment usually starts the day of the diagnosis. So patients may start on their androgen deprivation therapy, which is pretty much like hormone castration.
Support has been pouring in from global leaders. Barack Obama tweeted, and I quote, "Nobody has done more to find breakthrough treatments for cancer. We pray for a fast and full recovery," unquote. Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed concern, sending his wishes for a quick recovery and extended support to the Biden family. US President Donald Trump said his family is very saddened and extended their warm wishes to Joe and Jill Biden. From personal loss to public advocacy, Joe Biden's fight against cancer has now become his own. Bureau Report, India Today.
Now, amid speculation on whether India would be hosting or being a part of the Asia Cup, the BCCI has now made it very clear that there's been no discussion just yet on the Asia Cup. BCCI saying that all reports suggesting that we're boycotting the Asia Cup at this point is imaginary, because so far there's been no discussion on it. It hasn't been ruled out by the Indian Cricket Board, but what the message is, what they're essentially saying is that we haven't discussed it just yet. Remember that Asia Cup 2025, India are the hosts of. So there's a big question mark in light of what's been happening between India and Pakistan on whether we choose to host it and also whether we'll even be a part of it. Nikhil Naz is joining us with more on this. Nikhil, what are your sources in the BCCI telling you about the possibility of us still hosting the Asia Cup?
Akshita, I understand where this official statement comes from, because I believe there is going to be a formal meeting wherein the BCCI will then come with an official version around the month of August is where they're looking at. At the moment, they have their hands full with trying to finish the IPL that had been stopped midway. Having said that, what I'm picking up, there is no smoke without fire. And these informal discussions did take place when it comes to the future of Asia Cup and whether India will participate in the Asia Cup or not. And those discussions came up when you were trying to find a way to organize the rest of the IPL. Remember, when IPL was first decided to be suspended, there were talks of having the IPL around the time when Asia Cup was to happen around September. So that's the window that BCCI was looking at, which in turn tells you that there was this thought process, or there is an inkling there within the BCCI that they may not be participating in the Asia Cup. In fact, Akshita, just to remind our viewers that Mr. Sunil Gavaskar, former India captain, and we call him the voice of cricket, had in fact said on India Today itself that as things stand right now, you cannot be playing any sort of cricket with Pakistan. And in a scenario like that, even if India has to pull out of the Asia Cup, they should. If Asia Cup wants to continue without India, let that be. Let India then organize a tri-series or a quadrangular series with other countries and leave Pakistan aside. Remember, majority of the money that comes in to the Asia Cup comes from the Indian quarters, whether it is through television rights or through sponsorship. In fact, the television rights valued at 170 million all comes from India. India pulling out is going to be a major jolt to the Asia Cup. As of now, what I'm picking up, yes, there's no official statement. That will only come once the meeting is done. But BCCI is thinking on those lines.
Now, let's see what happens. And we will, of course, track the latest that comes in from the BCCI. Thanks for the moment, Nikhil, for joining us with those details. And here's our fact check of the day. There are claims doing the rounds on social media. Not sure if you've seen this, but there are claims right now about YouTuber Jyoti Malhotra, who's been arrested for, in fact, espionage for her links to Pakistan. Now, the claim is that she has links with the Bharatiya Janata Party as well, with this picture doing the rounds right now. Is that true? Not at all. What we found when we processed this particular picture is that it is actually AI generated. And so this has been doing the rounds on social media. Not true. Jyoti Malhotra, who is currently in custody, who's been arrested, is not linked to the BJP. A reminder once again, don't believe everything you see on social media. And here on India Today, we'll continue separating fact from fiction. That's all we have time for in this edition of Super 6. Thanks very much for tuning in.